Hello, this is Pastor Vern coming at you again with another book review today, and this time we are talking about this book right here. It is The Heresy of Orthodoxy, and the subtitle is How Contemporary Culture's Fascination with Diversity Has Reshaped Our Understanding of Early Christianity. This book was written by Andreas Kostenberger and Michael J. Kruger. And this book basically is an answer to Walter Bauer's work entitled Orthodoxy and Heresy in Earliest Christianity, and more specifically, I believe we could say it is an answer to the Bauer thesis, which they refer to many times in this book as the Bauer-Ehrman thesis, which says, and I'm just putting this in my own words, but it says that heresy preceded orthodoxy in early Christianity because early Christianity was so diverse. Therefore, orthodoxy didn't come until many years later when certain beliefs won the so-called battles of the day and prevailed to go on and become orthodoxy. Now, let me allow the authors of this book to define orthodoxy for their own purposes. They define orthodoxy as simply this: any correct teaching regarding the person of Jesus Christ, including the way of salvation, in contrast to teaching regarding Jesus that deviates from the standard norms of Christian doctrine. So that's how Kostenberger and Kruger define orthodoxy for the purpose of this book. So the claim that heresy preceded orthodoxy is kind of a summary of the Bauer-Ehrman thesis, which has come to be called that today instead of just the Bauer thesis, due to the fact that New Testament scholar Bauer-Ehrman has risen as somewhat of a spokesman for this thesis. Now, the reason it's important that we understand why Kruger and Kostenberger's work on this matter would be crucial is because the Bauer-Ehrman thesis is a direct challenge to the claim that Jesus Christ, the apostles, and the early Christians taught a unified message. And it's a challenge to the claim that any unified message would have been absolutely true, and the denials of that unified message would have been absolutely false. And I think the Heresy of Orthodoxy does a great job in dealing with the Bauer-Ehrman thesis. In particular, I enjoyed some of the documentation they provided from early church men such as Irenaeus, who stood against heresy. He fought against it vehemently and upheld canonical scripture and stood against non-canonical writings such as the Gnostic Gospels. So this book deals with a lot of that subject matter also. Now, the Heresy of Orthodoxy was beneficial to me, and I think that any Christian who's interested in learning more about early Christianity, or maybe you're interested in learning more about the canon of Scripture and so forth, I believe you would be well advised to read this book. It was beneficial to me to be able to learn more about these things and identify the Bauer-Ehrman thesis, because this stuff shows up a lot more than what you might initially expect. And it's good to know that there are refutations available for these kinds of arguments from scholarly sources. For example, I have been reading a book by Elaine Pagels. Elaine Pagels is a very smart person. She's a Harvard scholar writing about the Gnostic Gospels. In fact, that's the title of this book, The Gnostic Gospels, and we're about halfway through this. And I was interested in learning more about her experience in regard to the Nag Hammadi finds of Gnostic literature. And pretty early on in this book, The Gnostic Gospels by Elaine Pagels, she begins to refer to diversity in early Christianity, and because I had read the Heresy of Orthodoxy previously, I was able to identify that as the Bauer-Ehrman thesis and recall some of Kruger and Kostenberger's documentation to the contrary. Now, even Bauer-Ehrman today has conceded that some of the details of the Bauer-Ehrman thesis have been discredited. Just like the book states, its corpse is still alive today, and it seems to be stronger than ever before. So, if you are interested in learning more about heresy and orthodoxy and early Christianity or the canon of Scripture, I would recommend this book. It is The Heresy of Orthodoxy by Kostenberger and Kruger. Thank you for watching.